Hi everyone, welcome to Create and Thrive in 5. So I'm going to be totally honest with you, I've really fallen off with doing my daily 5 minutes. I just really want to try and get back into that habit of creating daily for just a few minutes because it really does make such a massive difference. So I hope you'll join me for today's Create and Thrive in 5. I hope you will take 5 minutes for yourself. If you don't manage to today, watch the video if you've got a few minutes, and then hopefully come back and have a go at giving yourself some time when you can fit it in. But I honestly really do, and I'm saying this for myself as much as for you, let's try and give ourselves just 5 minutes a day. Like, it really isn't very much at all, and the impact that it can have is just huge. So let's just try and give ourselves that time. Come and share whatever you're doing in the group on Instagram. You can tag me at Art by Liz Ross, and you can use the hashtag Create and Thrive in 5. Okay, so today what I thought we would do is I'm going to go back to a page that we did in my watercolour journal, where we were playing with watercolours, and I really have this pull and this feeling that I want to play with some crayons. So I'm going to go back to that page and just kind of see what happens. Okay, so this is the page that I want to work on today. If you missed the video on how I created these watercolour square rectangles, you can go back and find that. I'll try and link it under this one, but go back, have a look at that. We played with watercolours and just letting the different colours kind of merge into each other to make these blobs, and that on its own is just a nice creative 5-minute activity where you can just play and have fun. I decided to add some positive affirmations to these ones, but today I just really feel called to play with my Water-Soluble crayons. You can play with any mark making material that you have that you feel called to do so, but I just really wanted to use these ones are water soluble ones. These ones are number 1s, and they're permanent, but I feel like using the water. Now that will be really interesting because when I activate the water onto these, it will reactivate the watercolours as well. So if you wanted to experiment in a different way, you could use something like you could experiment with these. These are supposed to be permanent once they are wet. So once you've activated them with water and they dry, I'm pretty sure they're supposed to then be permanent. So then you could come in with another water media over the top, and then when you activate that with water, what's underneath should be permanent. But that's something I could experiment with at another time, and we could see if that works. But today we're going to play with these. If I didn't want this water to reactivate, I could use my ones that are permanent, aren't water soluble, and I could just draw without adding water. But let's just see what happens. Okay, so I'm going to set my timer. I'm going to give myself 5 minutes to play. And I'm not really thinking, I'm just going to make some marks, and I'm going to use whichever colours are calling to me, and I don't have to stay within these little rectangles, but I do quite like using squares or rectangles when I'm just kind of playing like this, because I feel like it's quite nice to just have a really small area to work in. Yeah, when I first got back into art, I was often kind of experimenting with like A4 sketchbooks, and they're just too big, too vast, and I just found it really just quite overwhelming, really. I just didn't kind of know where to start, and when I did get started, I didn't really know what to do. It was too big a page to fill, so I do quite like using these kind of smaller areas to experiment with. You could have a go at just kind of drawing a small grid. I often use a grid, which is quite nice, and don't worry about going outside the lines. I'm just going to try and do kind of different shapes, maybe different texture, maybe use my non-dominant hand so that I'm not thinking about being neat or the marks that I make, and trying not to think too much about what colours I'm using. But yeah, just sometimes using a grid or masking off a piece of paper and then working over the masking tape and then pulling it off to see what you've got. Creating on like a large piece of paper and then cutting it into squares. That can be quite interesting because then you can kind of see what you've got to work with and respond to in each kind of section. And it's a little bit more spontaneous because you don't know what you've created until you've cut it up or taken the masking tape off. And it's just different, just interesting, because you're out of your thinking brain then and you're just letting yourself play and explore. And then when you cut those up, you get a surprise, which is really nice, and then you can respond even further to that. Okay, so I've just made a few marks. I'm just going to spray my water bottle. You could go in with a brush if you wanted to, but I just wanted to spray and see what would happen. So I've now reactivated that. What I should have done was put a piece of paper on that side. Right, I'm just gonna have to go get the door and then I'll come back. That's the timer, but kind of missed a bit of time there, didn't I? Because I had to go answer the door. So I'm just gonna get a paintbrush. Actually, I'm just seeing a feather. I just think, you know what? I'm going to play with a feather instead. So I just grabbed a feather and I'm just going to see if I can move any of this around a bit. And what I've got on the feather I'll transfer to some of the other areas. I don't want to use too much because I do like what's happening. This is my favourite. Absolutely love that. I love how the pink is coming out of the rectangle, and I haven't really messed too much with the yellow area, but the blue and the pink have made a really beautiful purple, so I love that. And you see, I wouldn't have played with these materials and I wouldn't have gone back into my watercolour. That's made like a bit of a brownie colour because you've got red, yellow and green mixing. I wouldn't have done that if I wasn't having these 5 minutes to myself. So I'm just going to add a bit more. I like how that is now making like a brownie colour. And these colours were a bit too desaturated for me. I like bright colours, and as you can see here, these are very muted, but now that I've added the crayons to these, they're really bright, and I think that's why I really, really love them. So, all these things that you do, it's just about seeing what is it that you enjoy, what do you like. And I don't mind the muted colours, there's a place for them. This one's particularly beautiful. But I just enjoy bright colours. Like, I'm itching to go in here and like add some pink. And I also really like the texture that comes through when you use crayons. Love that. Look at that. Oh, look at that gorgeous texture there. That is so pretty. Love it. Okay, so this is kind of all running a bit now, so I'm going to stop because the timer went off, and I'm just going to get a piece of tissue if I can find one. Okay, I'm going to wipe that up there, and I will leave it to dry, and I'll put a picture of how that turned out. But how pretty. Don't love that. So there you go. Okay, interesting. Really lovely. Love that one. Love that one, love that one. They're my favourites. That's actually quite nice, but it's lost some colour here. But maybe that's nice because it gives it a bit of space. I actually really like that because it's very calm and like muted and harmonious, but then you've got this pop of the purple that just really brings it to life. So just noticing, experimenting, playing, having fun. It's just fantastic. Anyway, I hope you've enjoyed that, and if you have a go or if you take your 5 minutes, then please do let me know. I'd love to see your experiments and your exploration. Go play and have fun, and I will see you soon.